Hello, everyone, and welcome to our session. There was a delay because of technical difficulties. I've been here for at least 15 minutes trying to get the Hangout to start. Well, nonetheless, we're all here, and thanks for your patience. All right, I see that I have Danielle in class. Hello, Danielle. How are you today?
Hello, fine. How are you?
Doing just fine. Very good. Thanks for being here today. Let's see. We also have Christian. Hello, Christian. How are you doing today?
Hello, I am fine. Thanks for asking. I am waiting your class.
Yes,
For,
I do
for-
appreciate that.
yeah, no problem.
Yeah, sometimes with technology, sometimes when it works great, it's good, and when it doesn't, ugh.
Okay, no problem.
All right, very good. Let's see. Let's also welcome, okay, funding. Is that correct? Funding?
Yes,
Funding?
yes, my name, Funding.
Funding. Okay, how are you doing today, Funding?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Good. Thank you for being here, Funding. Great to have you here in class with us.
Me too.
All right, let's have Alessia. Alessia, how are you doing
Yeah.
today?
Hi, Carissa. I think it's the first one that I have a lesson with you, but I'm so happy. And if you prefer, could you call me Ale? It's easy.
Ale. Sure,
Yeah.
I can do that.
Because
Definitely.
Aletia, only my mommy call me when I do wrong something.
Okay. All right. Well, I won't call you by your full name. That way, I won't remind you of that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Okay, guys. So, as you read today in the description, today we're going to talk about different places that you have lived. All right, and we're also going to talk about some places that you would love to live or you would like to live in if money were no object. Okay, so we're going to talk about the past, and we're going to have fun talking about the future, or hypothetical, if you will. All
Okay.
right, very good. Before we do, I just want to review quickly, maybe just a little bit of grammar that will be helpful in the lesson. Okay, I'm going to talk just a little bit about just three tenses. Okay, obviously we're going to talk about the past tense. All right, the past tense we're going to talk about if, okay, if we are talking about an event that happened in the past and is no longer happening. Okay, so let's just, I'm going to share my screen with you, and
Yeah.
that way you'll see a couple of examples. Just give me a second. Okay, so you should be able to see the board now. Okay, so just again, let me just have you just read quickly, and then we'll get right into our experiences. Christian, can you please help us with the first paragraph and the three examples?
Okay. Okay. A simple past is one of things that we use to tell about events. It's the action that have been complete at some point in the past. Hoster, 18 hosting the 24 Summer Olympics. More than 9 million combatants were killed in World War I. The mayor declared a state of emergency.
Okay, so again, in that paragraph, okay, we're going to use the past tense to talk about things that have happened in the past and they're finished. They're no longer happening anymore. Okay? All right, and let's talk just a little bit about, let's talk about another use for that tense. Give me one second. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to ask Danielle. Danielle, can you read the next paragraph and the example for me?
Yes. The simple past tense is also preferred when we want to give more precise details concerning an event. Example: there was a serious accident on the freeway today. A large truck slammed slammed into the back of a sports car. The car was crushed. The driver of the sports car was rushed to the hospital. Doctors saved the driver's life.
Okay, so when you add more details about an event, then you're going to use the simple past tense. Okay, so in this example, the event that happened was that there was a serious accident. Okay, that was the event. Now the details you added are all underlined. Slammed, was crushed, was rushed, saved. Okay, in each of those sentences, we use the past tense to add more details.
Sorry, Carissa, I don't find slammed in the Google Translate. What is mean?
Okay, it's a synonym of crashed.
Okay.
But it means that a truck was going fast. Okay, it was on the freeway, so it was going fast. It didn't have time to stop, so it slammed or plowed into the back of a sports car.
Okay, I understand now.
Okay, very good. Thanks for your question. All right, now let's talk about yet another use of the simple past tense. All right, and let's see. Let's have Ale. Ale, can you read the last paragraph for me?
Yeah. The simple past tense is also used to describe events that occurred over longer periods of time and action, which were repeated over an extended period but are now ended.
And could you read the two examples for me?
Yeah, sorry. In his teens, he performed for many famous musicians. Repeated. Our family lived in this house for over 25 years, and I don't see anymore.
That's it. Very good. Okay, so here, something that happened over a period of time. Now remember, it's ended. Okay, that's what our simple past tense is. It's something that happened in the past that's ended. But in this case, it could be something that happened over a period of time in the past, but is now ended. For example, in the last one, our family lived in this house for 25 years. Okay, so Ali, does the family still live in the same house?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Okay, no, because remember, this tense is used for something that is now ended.
Ah, okay. Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So now we know, right? So our family lived in this house for 25 years. Now we don't.
Okay. It's finished.
Okay.
No.
All right. That's right. It's finished. And in the first one, in his teens, he performed for many musicians. Is he still performing for many musicians or famous musicians?
Yeah. I don't.
Is he still performing for famous musicians right now?
No.
He is not. Okay, when did he perform for many famous musicians? When did he do that?
In the past, and now it stopped.
Right, in his teens. That's right. Good. Okay, so that's important that we know that, because as we talk about our experiences in the past, when we talk about things that happened in the past but are no longer happening now, we're going to use the simple past tense. Okay, now I'm going to scroll down a little bit because I want to talk a little bit about pronunciation. Okay, all right, so when we talk about our past tense, okay, we all know that in general, verbs that have an ed ending, they're pronounced with a D sound. Okay, so for example, the verb allow in the past tense is allowed. Allowed. Or the next verb, cried. Cried.
Could I repeat?
Yes, please.
Allowed, cried, enjoyed, cleaned, imagined, laughed, used,
hugged.
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 Okay. Right, very good. Exactly. So in general, that is how these past tense verbs will sound. Okay, they won't sound like hugged or loved, enjoyed. No, you'll just say the verb and then a D sound. Enjoyed, loved.
Okay.
Okay?
I have to eat the E.
Yeah, yes. Uh-huh. Yes. Okay, now let's talk about an exception. And let's see, funding. Funding?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, very good. I'd like you to read the next paragraph and the examples for me.
Yeah. The AD's endings add to the words that end with a T or D sound are pronounced as a syllabus ED or ED.
Okay, and you
It's
can
too,
read the first four words for me, the example ones.
yeah, it's too small. I can see. Can you touch?
Okay. Sure, sure. Just give me a second. Sorry about that. Okay, is that better? Let's see, maybe make it
Yeah.
even a little bit bigger. All right, let's try it now.
Okay. Digistic, weightic, saltic, diuretic.
Okay.
Both. Yeah.
All right, very good. Okay, so the way that I've broken it, the word down, it makes it easy to pronounce. Visited. Okay, you want to make sure that the ending of the word sounds like either ed or id. D. Visited. Try it again. Visited, waited, shouted, directed.
Visited, weighted, salted, directed.
Beautiful. That's it. That sounds really good. Okay, so you notice that in those
Thank
words,
you.
you're either going to sound like an ed or an id. Okay, Eka, thank you for joining us again today. Great to have you here. Okay,
Thank you.
Eka, you're
Mhm.
welcome. Can you tell me the past tense of the next 5 words or the next 6 words that are on the screen?
Okay. Is it a T sound or D sound?
Okay, all right, so it's either going to sound like ed or id. Okay, and that just depends. Voted, lifted. Okay, you're just going to add an ed on the end of the words.
Okay. Lifted, pointed, sifted, ended, mended.
Right. Okay. And even if the way you say it is somewhere in between ed and id, it's okay. Okay? There's no problem there. All right, very good. Excellent job. All right, and we do have a couple of more examples there at the bottom, and I'm going to ask Danielle. Danielle, can you tell me the past tense of the next 2 words on the screen? Explode and mold.
Exploded, molded.
Beautiful job. Great pronunciation. All right, I'm going to enlarge the next paragraph, and we'll get Christian to help us out with that. Okay, Christian, can you read the next bullet point for me?
Okay. The ed ending add to the verb that and which ch f k p s s i t th is pronounced like a t. Um, talk, talked, walked.
Okay, I'm sorry. Stop just for a second. Okay, look at the pronunciation guide here. Okay, so you're going to say the verb and then it sounds like a T at the end. Okay, so that should be talked, walked. Okay, try that again for me, Christian.
Okay, talked, walked, laughed, coughed, kissed, brushed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now what about the last two, Christian? How would we pronounce those 2 words?
Shacked,
No,
smarked. No?
okay, no, not checked. Okay, remember, it's pronounced like a T.
Shacked.
Right. Okay, and the last word? Smack?
Smart.
There you go. That's it. Okay, so if you find yourself reverting back to talked, Okay, stop yourself. Okay, that's not a sound in the past tense. Okay, it's either going to sound like a D or it's going to sound like a T. Okay,
Okay.
talked, coughed. Okay, very good. All right, now let's test this out. You're welcome. Let's test this out and see if we have it. All right, let's go back up to our example at the top. All right, now here we have some examples of several of those words. Okay, let's make sure that we understand. Okay, and let's see, who do we have? Okay, let's have Danielle. Danielle, can you please read the example for me? Now make sure that you pay close attention to how you pronounce the words with the ED endings.
Mhm. There was a serious accident on the freeway today. A large truck slammed into the back of a sports car. The car was crashed. The driver of the crashed. The driver of the sports car was rushed to the hospital. Doctors saved the driver's life.
Beautiful, beautiful pronunciation. Okay, so we can see here with the two words that end with SH. Okay, so here's our verb. Okay, and the words end with SH. Okay, and Daniel pronounced that correctly. He said it with the T. Crushed, rushed. Good. And when he came to saved, okay, remember, you say the verb, save, and then you just mention or pronounce the D. Saved. That's right. Very good. Excellent job. All right. I just want to make sure that we have it. So I'm going to ask Funding. Funding, can you read? I'd like you to read the 4 examples that are here on the board. Give me a second. I want to make them a little bit bigger for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I want you to pay close attention to how you pronounce the ED endings here. Okay. Go ahead, please.
Yes. In his teens, he performed for many famous musicians.
Musicians?
Yeah, musicians.
Musicians.
Our family live. Musician?
That's it. Perfect. Perfect.
Yes. Our family lived in this house for over 25 years. I worked for SIS company for 50 years. I practiced my speech until I memorized it.
Good. Until I memorized it. Good. Great job with your pronunciation. I think we got it. Okay. Are there any questions about the pronunciation of our ED endings? Any questions?
I have a question about when a verb ends in R sound.
Okay, if it ends with an R sound?
For example, to fear.
To fur?
To afraid.
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 Okay. To fear. Okay, fear.
Sorry.
Okay. All right, no problem, no problem. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back and let's go back down to our rules. Okay. All right. Now let's take a look at our exceptions. Okay, so in general, you're just going to add an ed to the end of the word. Okay, so let's add an ed to the end of fear. Okay, what do you think could be the sound? Okay, remember it says in general it's just going to sound like a D. Okay, so how would I pronounce that word?
Feared.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Feared.
Feared.
Yep, it doesn't meet the rules for any of our exceptions. It doesn't end with a CH, F, K, P, S, SH, etc. So it's not going to meet the last criteria. Okay, it doesn't end with a T or a D sound, so it doesn't meet that criteria. Okay, so the thing that you want is just, in general, just add an ED to the end of the word and it sounds like a D.
Okay.
Okay, very good. That was a really good question. Okay, thanks for asking that question. Okay, does anyone else have any questions? I appreciate your questions. Go ahead and ask those questions if you have any. All right. Okay. So, all right. So I greeted Joao in the chat box. Joao, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm doing just fine. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank
All
you.
right, you're welcome. All right, guys. So that is our simple past tense. Now I want to show you just one more tense in the it's actually a different tense. It's called the present perfect tense. I'm going to share this with because as we talk about the places we have lived, the places we've lived, okay, it could be that we still currently live in that particular place. Okay, now what tense are we going to use there? Well, here it is, and we're just going to talk about it in one sense here. All right, so probably everybody should be able to see this, but let me just increase the size, and that way I'll make sure. All right, very good. All right, so yes,
Sorry, I have a question.
yes,
With
please.
irregular verbs, when they end with D or T, I read it. Could I have to read it? For example, to mean in the past is meant. I read T or not, or I read with D, or I have to eat it.
Well, if that's an irregular verb, so it's going to be read in the present tense, and it's spelled the exact same way in the past tense.
Yeah.
So you really
But
haven't added
when
anything.
the verb ending with D or T, I have to eat or I have to pronounce it.
Okay, in this case, you're going to pronounce it. Okay, but remember, you're not saying redded. Okay, you're only saying read. And then the other example that you said, okay, this word is pronounced meant. Meant. Yeah.
When there is a sentences and there is a link with another words, I could I don't know what is the name in English. I'm sorry. Could I compress? It's right.
Can you give me an example of what you mean?
No, I don't have an example right in this moment. I'm thinking about and then I give you.
Okay, great. So yeah, think about that example and then go ahead and add that to the chat for me. All right, very good. Now, guys, I want to show you this tense because it will be helpful as we consider our lesson for today. All right, very good. Joao, how about I have you read the paragraph for me, the two paragraphs that are on the board, and then the two examples.
I have lived in Asia for the past 10 years.
Okay, can you read the top where it says use the present perfect tense?
Okay. Use the present perfect tense to talk about an action that started in the past and has not ended. The exact time of the action is not important. Use unspecific general time expressions such as ever, never, once, many times, several times, before, so far, already, yet, etc.
Okay, and then if you could go ahead and read the two examples.
I have lived in Asia for the past 10 years. Compare, I lived in Asia for 10 years. I worked at EDF company for as long as I can remember. Compare, I work at EDF company.
Okay, very good. Excellent job with your reading. All right, now I just want to ask the class one question. All right, in the last example, okay, we see the past tense of the word worked. Okay, is that worked or is it worked? What's the pronunciation there?
Worked.
Right, worked. The T sound. I have worked. All right, now let's talk about the difference between the two sentences. Let's take a look at the first example. All right.
Teacher?
Yes, please.
I would like to know if you can say, for example, and I have lived in Asia since 10 years.
No.
Since no?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
No. It has Okay, I'll show you how to use since. Okay. Okay, so I can start my sentence with since. Since I was a child, comma, I have lived, okay, remember our pronunciation, lived, I have lived in Asia. Okay, there's where you can use it. Okay, so it starts your phrase, since I was a child. You've talked about a non-specific time period. From the time when you were little until now, you have lived in Asia.
Okay.
All right, very
Okay.
good. But in this case, you want to use for the past.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, very good. All right, now let's talk about the difference. Thank you for your question. What's the difference? If I say I have lived in Asia for the past 10 years, do I still live in Asia?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I still live in Asia. But if I say I lived in Asia for 10 years, do I still live in Asia?
No.
I don't
No.
live anymore.
Right. I no longer live in Asia. Okay? All right. And the same thing here with our last example. I have worked at EDF Company for as long as I can remember. Okay? Do I still work at the company?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Yes, I do. Okay, now look at the next sentence. I work at EDF Company. Do I work at the company?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Okay, but in the first sentence, I'm giving you more information. I'm telling you that for a long time, I have worked at the company, and I still do. Okay, in the other sentence, I'm just stating a simple fact. I work at the company. That's it.
Sorry, Carissa. Could
Mhm.
it said I was working at EDF company for as long as I remember? If now I'm working for this company.
I have living.
No, no.
No? Okay.
No, that's different. Okay, I'm going to show you here. I was working at EDF Company. All right, this is your past progressive tense.
Yeah?
Okay, it's something that happened continuously in the past, but is no longer happening.
Okay.
Okay, so the way you would end this sentence is I was working at EDF Company, and you could say for a long time, but now I'm at ABC Company.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Good. Thank you for your question. All right, very good. So guys, with these tools in our toolbox now, all right, let's talk about the places that we have lived. Okay, now you can see here the way that you form this the present perfect tense. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. All right, you see where it's highlighted? You have your subject, I. You add your verb, have, and then it's coupled with another verb in the past with the past participle. Okay, you're just going to use your past tense verb there. I have worked. I have lived. Okay, if you still live in that place. If not, then you're just going to use the simple past tense. Okay, all right, so I'm going to start off. I'm going to give you an example of what it should sound like. Okay, so I lived in the Caribbean for 4 years. First, I lived on the island of Trinidad for 3 years. And then I moved to the island of St. Vincent, and I lived there for 1 year. I then moved to Central America. I lived in Panama for almost 1 year.
You are very lucky.
For the past 7 years, I have lived in Costa Rica.
Ah, wonderful.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. Where do I live right now?
Costa Rica.
That's it. That's right. All right, I live in Costa Rica right now.
And
Okay,
you're
very
15 years
Sure.
old.
You live in Costa Rica? You live here? It's wonderful. I
Thanks.
want to come back. I want to come and meet you.
Yeah, come visit me. That's fine.
Next
Okay,
year.
okay, okay. All right, that's good. Okay, good. So let's talk. I want to hear about where you live. Okay, where you have lived. Okay, so let's see. I'd like to talk to Funding. Funding, where have you lived?
Yeah, I have lived in Da Nang City for 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and where did you live before that?
Yes. Before move to Da Nang City, I lived in Hanoi City for 1 year. After that, I moved to Ho Chi Minh City and lived there almost 2 years. I think so.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. And where, in what city were you born?
Mm, I was born in Da Nang City.
Okay, so here you go. I was born in, I think is that correct?
Pardon?
Okay, I'm not sure that I have the spelling right of Vernal City. Check the chat box for me. Is that the correct spelling?
Carissa, sorry, are you writing on the Verbalink chat or
Yeah,
Google Chat?
I was
I don't.
born in Da Nang City. Yeah, Bernal
Okay,
City. Yeah.
You too?
right. Okay, yes, I am. I'm writing in the Verbaling chat. If you click on the V on the left-hand
Yeah,
side of
yeah.
your screen.
I just clicking on, but I don't see anything.
Hmm. Okay, well, let me write it on the other side. Okay, so this is what Fandin said.
Maybe my problem. I think. Ah, okay. Now I got you.
Mm-hmm.
I got you.
Okay. All right, very good. Okay, so right, so here it is. Okay, now let's see. You said I were born. Okay. Now, which is the correct way to say that? Is it I were born or I was born? Which is the correct past tense of the verb to be? I were or I was?
Was
I think both.
no
Okay.
was.
Uh-huh. So,
Yeah, yeah. I
right,
think
so
so.
right,
Yeah,
so it's was. Okay, if you have a singular subject, then you use was. Okay, so if you have a plural subject, for example, we were born or they were born, right? Then you would
yeah,
say you would use were. Okay?
yeah.
All right, very good. Okay, excellent job. Okay, all right, very good. Great job. Okay, and let's move on. Let's have Christian. Christian, okay, tell us where you have lived. Christian.
Um, I lived in Chile for the past 35 years
Too long.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
because now I am living in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
Where?
I live in
Yeah,
Sweden now, but I was born in Chile,
yeah.
and I have living in Sweden for the 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Okay, for 6 months. All right, very good. Okay, now this is what you said. I typed this in the chat box. Now, I want to ask you just a couple of questions about what you said. Okay, you gave us some good information, and let me just put it in the other chat for you, Ale. All right. Okay, so let's take a look. Now, let's take a look at your first past tense verb. Okay, now I'm going to give you two options. Okay, so should it be pronounced?
Sorry?
Okay, which of the options? I'm sorry, I was typing. All right, so should that be pronounced livid or should that be pronounced lived?
Lived.
Right, good. So I lived, right? Okay, now look at your sentence. Okay, you said I lived in Chile for the past 35 years. Okay, okay, but now you no longer live in Chile. You live in Sweden. Okay, so remember, we can't say for the past 35 years because that's continuous. That gives the impression that you still live in Chile. Okay, so this is one change I would like to make here. So I lived in Chile for 35 years. Okay, do you see the
Okay.
difference?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I lived in Chile. All right, and you could also, you mentioned here also that you were born in Chile. That was excellent. That was great. I was born in Chile. Okay, now your next sentence says, now I living in Chile.
I'm living.
Okay, all right. Now you could say, I am living in Chile. Okay, I'm living in Chile. All right, you could say that. All right, but when you're just making a simple statement of fact, okay, it's better if you just use the simple present tense.
But if you say that simple present is the present, not the past. For the reason I say I am living in Sweden now.
But you
I know
do you
explain well, I think. But
right?
in the
Do you
past,
live?
now I am living in Sweden.
Okay, so that's the present tense, right?
Yeah.
So then just use the simple present tense.
Yeah.
I live in Chile. Okay, and if you want to add at the beginning, now, that's fine. Now I live in Chile. So for example, I could say that as well. I live in Costa Rica. We tend to, in English, we tend to be very, very simple in what we say. We save words as well. Okay, you just simple statements of fact, just use the simple present tense. However, if you need to emphasize it, you could use the present progressive tense. You could say, yes, right now I'm living in Chile. Okay, if you needed to clarify it. Okay, but if you're just going to make a simple statement, then you can just use the simple present tense. All right, good. The last sentence that you said, Christian, you said, I have lived in Sweden for 6 months. Okay, now I think what you're doing there is you're using the present perfect tense. Okay, and so what you want to say there, you start off very well. I have, now remember what, right, what comes now is what we call our past participle. I have lived. I have lived in Sweden for the past. Okay, so for the past 6 months, that phrase tells me that you moved to Sweden 6 months ago, and from that time forward, you've been living there. All right, so let's try that again. Okay, so Christian, tell us once again exactly what you said. Okay, but now with some of the corrections. Okay, tell us again. Where have you lived, Christian?
This is really strange for me because I would like to understand that the idea, because in the past, and I live in Chile. Okay, it's correct.
Right, I lived in Chile.
Yeah, I live in Chile. I live in Chile, but now I am living in Sweden.
I live in Sweden. Okay, I'm going to type that here in the chat box. Okay, in the past,
Are you an engineer?
I lived in Chile. Okay, that's it. I lived in Chile. Now I live.
Yeah, it is correct. I know that.
That's
but
it.
you wrote that now I live in Chile. It's not correct, I think. But now I live in Sweden.
I'm sorry. I meant to type Sweden. That was my mistake.
Yeah, but the thing that I would like to know if it's correct, I have lived in Sweden for the past 6 months. It means that I don't live in Sweden now.
No, that's not true. No.
Okay. No. Means that I live in Jet.
That you still, that's right. You still live in Sweden.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, that was a typing error on my part. And the last thing I wrote down at the bottom corrects that. Okay, so now I live in Sweden. Okay, sorry for the confusion there, Christian.
Okay, no
Okay,
problem.
do you feel like you understand?
Yeah, I understand. I get it.
Okay.
Thanks a
Okay,
lot.
good. Good. You're welcome. All right, very good. Okay, Joao. Joao, tell us, where have you lived?
I was born in Portugal and I have lived in Portugal since that.
Okay. Okay. Good. Now, you could also say, I have always lived in Portugal. Okay,
Okay,
as well. That's another option. I've always lived in Portugal.
okay. I have always lived in Portugal. Yes.
You know, here's another way to say that too. We say this very often. I was born and raised in Portugal. hmm you basically say the same thing. Okay, I was born and you grew up in
Okay.
Portugal.
Yes, it's good.
Good, excellent job. All right, let's see. Danielle, tell us, where have you lived?
Okay. I was born in Spain, but I lived in Germany my first 3 years. Then I moved to Spain again, to Zamora. I lived there until 18 years old. Then I moved to study to Avila for 5 years. And finally I had lived in Salamanca for the past 10 years.
That was pretty good. That was really, really nice. Okay, now one thing I'll give you a vocabulary word here. Check the chat box for me. I lived there until I was 18 years old.
Okay.
But very nice job. Okay, wow, good job. I think we're getting it. Okay, good. Okay, and finally, let's have Ale. Ale, where have
Yeah.
you lived?
I was born in Italy, in Pavia. It's a little town close Milano, our oldest town, I think, in Italy. Then I went to university in Bologna. It's the oldest university in Italy, and I lived in Bologna for 4 years, I think, if I don't remember wrong. And then I came back to
Good.
Pavia, and then I stayed here for 5 years, and now I'm flying between Ireland in Dublin and Italy. And in October, I will move to San Francisco, and in the next year, I think to move to Costa Rica to meet my teacher, Carissa.
All right, very good.
So,
Okay.
because my great friend last year have an holidays in Costa Rica and said me beautiful stuff about and of nature, sea, and everything about, and I want to visit it.
Okay, very good. Okay, nice job. Okay, you gave us some really good information and some history about the places that you have lived. Okay, very good. Okay, one thing I want to mention here in the chat box. Okay, so my best friend visited Costa Rica, and is it a female or a male?
A female.
Okay, and she told me.
And she
okay,
told me.
Right,
Yeah?
she told me wonderful things about it.
Yeah.
Good, very good. So that's a great opportunity to use the past tense of tell. Now that again is, it's a irregular past tense. So very good. Okay, excellent job. Okay, guys, the last thing that I would like to do before we leave for today, and we just have a couple of minutes to go. All right, so check the verbal link chat. Remember, we also said that we were going to talk about a place that we would live if money or no object. Okay, so if you had all the money in the world, I'm going to type that here. If you had all the money in the world, okay, or if money were no object, where would you live? All right, so we can start off our sentence by saying, I would live in, and then tell us where you would live. Okay? All right, funding. if money were no object, where would you live?
Could I answer?
Okay, just give me 1 second. Let me see if I can.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've talked to Funding. Okay, so Funding, where would you live if money were no object?
Okay.
Okay, I think maybe Funding may have stepped away. All right. Okay, good. Go ahead, Ali. Tell us, where would you live?
I think my dream is to travel on the world, and then when I don't have money, or if I have more money, live in a place where there are many people who don't have money, and give them helpful.
Okay. I'm sorry, I missed where you would live. Tell me again, where would you live?
I don't know where are the people needs an help.
Where people need help. Okay, so you would want to go and volunteer and help people.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to travel a little bit more, and then I think it's a good mission in my life.
Okay, all right. So I would live wherever people need help. Okay, good. So I'm going to type that here. I would live wherever.
Wherever
Mm-hmm.
wherever the people needs help.
Okay, very good. Okay, so I've typed that here. Oh, let me type it in the other chat box. Okay. All right,
I'm
very
sorry,
good.
but I don't see your chat.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to type it in the other chat right now. Okay, very good. Okay, and let's see, Danielle, what about you? Where would you live if money were no object?
I would live every month in a singular locate. Maybe in the beach a month, in the mountain skiing another month, traveling
Okay.
all day in a in a infinite trip.
Okay, good. So I would live in different places. Okay, good. So you could say that in a couple of different ways. You could say I would live in a new place every month. Mm-hmm. Good. Very good. So you'd be a world traveler. Okay. All right. And Christian, what about you? Where would you live if money were no object?
I would like to live in a place where are in summer.
Mm-hmm.
Move around the world, taking all summer. Or when I decide to take the winter for practice ski on any sport.
Uh-huh. Okay, good. So you said I would enjoy the summers in different countries.
Yeah, sure.
Good.
Life.
You'd have a wonderful tan then.
Sure.
Okay, very good. And finally, Joao. Joao, where would you live?
Well, I would live in many countries because I'd like to travel around the world and know new cultures, find new people, and but in rest of my life I'd like to live in Azores, is Portuguese island in the Atlantic. That is very beautiful.
Okay, wow, that sounds interesting. I'll have to Google that. That sounds like a very interesting place.
Azores
All right.
are very beautiful.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'll definitely have to Google that. All right, very good. Well, everyone, that's going to end our class for today. So again, we reviewed the past tense, and we also reviewed the perfect present tense. We talked about the differences, and we've also talked about a hypothetical situation, where we would live if money were no object. Great participation in class today, everyone. Thanks for your patience. look out for my future classes. And remember, if you'd like to take a one-on-one class with me, you can go ahead and book that online at Verbaling. Have a great day or evening, everyone, and I hope to see you soon.
Bye.
Thank you,
Okay, thank you.
Carissa.
Bye.
Hi,
Have a
Carissa.
good day.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.